If you've spent any time at all in Christian circles, you've definitely heard the advice. It sounds really powerful, it's totally well-intentioned, and it is everywhere.
You're told to ask for it, to seek it, to really believe that getting more spiritual power is the master key to a deeper faith and making a bigger impact.
You've been encouraged, right? To go after the supernatural signs, to look for the spectacular, to chase down the gifts of the Spirit with everything you've got. But
what if that constant pursuit is actually pulling you further away from what God really wants for you? It's a pretty challenging thought, I know. And to really get it, we need to look closer at what we're actually being told to chase.
A lot of the time, this whole issue starts with a super subtle misunderstanding of just one single command in the Bible. It's a tiny shift, but believe me, it has massive consequences.
So many of us, we read that command to desire spiritual gifts, and we just stop. That's the end of the sentence for us. We hear desire gifts, and we're off to the races. But we're so often missing the first and honestly, the most important part of that whole instruction.
And so the chase is on. We pour all of our energy into pursuing prophecy, the gift of healing, seeing miracles, and just operating in spiritual power. And look, these things are impressive, they feel spiritual, but are they supposed to be the main target?
And this right here really shows the critical reversal. See, the common path is to follow the gifts and just hope that love comes along for the ride. But the biblical command is actually to follow the way of love, and then, from that foundation, desire spiritual gifts. The priority is completely flipped.
And make no mistake, this is not a small error. When we get the order wrong, we risk creating a whole generation of faith that looks really powerful on the outside, full of activity and signs, but is fundamentally misaligned with the actual heart and character of God.
This leads us to a really difficult but absolutely crucial point. There is a real danger in prioritizing supernatural activity over our actual personal relationship with God.
These might be some of the most chilling words in the entire Bible, and Jesus says them to a very, very specific group of people. Just think about that for a second. He wasn't talking to atheists or people who were kind of half in, half out. He was speaking to people who were prophesying, casting out demons, and performing miracles. I mean, they were doing all the things we chase, and they were rejected.
So here's the bottom line. Supernatural power all by itself is not proof of anything that truly matters. It doesn't prove you have a real relationship with God, it doesn't prove you are righteous, and it for sure doesn't prove that you are walking in love.
So, if love is the priority, what are we even talking about? It's not the world's version of love, which is usually just a feeling or being nice to people. God gives us a very specific formula for it.
God defines His love as an active combination. It's His kindness mixed with His justice, and it's all pointing toward one ultimate goal, righteousness. This is not some passive emotion. This is a divine mission.
So here's how those pieces work together. Kindness, that's the very character of God. Justice, that's the action of God, what He does to make things right. And righteousness, making people right with Him, that's the ultimate goal of the whole thing.
This is the key distinction we have to get. If our love doesn't have the goal of bringing people into a right relationship with God, then it's not divine love. It's just human sentiment. And sentiment is nice, but it's ultimately fleeting and powerless.
All right, so how does this actually play out? When we finally get this right, when we realign our priorities from power to love, everything changes. This is where the true spiritual dynamic gets unlocked. Our whole approach to God just shifts. Instead of always asking for power like it's a tool, we start asking to be transformed into someone who loves like He does. The focus moves from what we can get from God to who we can become for God.
And here's why it works so beautifully. When our deepest desire lines up with God's number one purpose, which is righteousness born from love, well, the Holy Spirit is just unleashed. He finally has a person whose heart is in perfect sync with His mission. And that's when real, authentic power starts to flow.
This brings the focus right back to us, doesn't it? We have to get really honest and ask ourselves, what is the true target of my pursuit? Is it the gifts, the results, the visibility, or is it the heart of God Himself?
This is the ultimate takeaway here. When you make divine love, that active, purposeful pursuit of righteousness your number one goal, you can stop chasing power. Power becomes the natural byproduct of being aligned with God. It will find you.
The invitation isn't just to receive things from God, but to actually be transformed into His likeness. So let's stop chasing the gifts and start pursuing the giver. Stop chasing what God can give you and start becoming what God is.